Well, I've been a member of the Labor Party since I was 14. In fact, I remember talking to my granddad from Scotland saying I wanted to join the Labor Party when I was like 10. So it's sort of part of my identity. It's been part of our family history, I guess. And
like a lot of Irish Catholic Australians, we've been Labor voters since there was a Labor Party.
My family voted Labor, and I've been formally involved with the party for about 25 years.
I reckon family is a good way of thinking about, how we think about the Labor Party, those of us who have been members of it for a long time, in my case more than half my life, because like a family, you really love your family, but sometimes they really give you the shits.
The Labor Party seems to have let us down, to have lost its way.
The way Labor's travelling at the moment, it's kind of like a ship that's lost in a bit of a storm.
I wonder why asylum seekers are treated so badly.
In a way, what I'm seeing now is a breakdown in the link between the Labor Party and its community.
I wonder why marriage equality isn't coming through.
And sometimes they disappoint you. And when your family members disappoint you, you want to coax them to do the right thing. You don't want to embarrass them. You don't want to chastise them publicly. You treat family in a different way. But sometimes you've got to be really firm with your family and say, this is something which has upset me, and I don't respect the way you did this or that.
I could never see myself joining another political party, but I didn't know whether or not I wanted to continue to be a member of the LP.
We need to get back to core Labor values.
I think ordinary members feel disenfranchised, they don't feel they have any say.
And I think part of being part of a family too is that there are some common values that you draw on, some traditions you learn from your older family members. You learn your ethics and values from your older family members.
I had been brought up my whole life, I guess, with my parents always instilling values of fairness and an equal go for all. And it was sort of a natural progression for me to join.
Something that disappoints me as a member of the Labor family now is how we seem to have drawn a line and we're not listening to some of our grassroots members who've been with us for a long time, our supporters who have fought battles in decades past. We seem to have closed off some of those conversations.
For the moment I'm working in the community, working with refugee groups and on the issue of asylum seekers, and we're looking to build community connections.
I was really considering the issues about gay marriage. My partner and I got married in Canada and had written to our local Member of Parliament. But it's not clear to me how I can link in with the Labor Party.
I think when we start talking about things like offshore processing, we're then throwing a lot of those values about giving people equal access to things like health, education, safety in the bin.
And got a letter back saying that basically whilst they were the Member of Parliament, they were never going to do something about this issue.
And I think if you're going to engage in a debate about values and a debate about renewing the party, you've got to engage both with our core values that have stood the test of time and with our people at the same time. They've got to be part of the same dialogue.
We talk about Labor values, but it's very hard to articulate what those values are. Are we standing up for the little person?
Standing up for those people who don't have the same sort of advantages in society and making sure that everyone has an equal opportunity to things like a strong education, strong health benefits, the ability to work and to get people's bodies or their minds back to the point where they're able to work.
I came through both the community and also through the trade union. And those links that I developed with the community, I think, helped me to formulate my views.
So the only way for me to get involved in the party, by the way that the structure currently is to attend sub-branch meetings and move motions through there.
I think the main difference is probably not when I was in Parliament so much as when I first joined the Labor Party. It was a much more dynamic organisation. There was much more activity at the branch level.
But for me, I've weighed up my time commitments and I feel that, going to these sub-branches, moving motions, nothing happens with them, nothing changes from that. And so for me, I've stopped going to those types of things because it feels like it's a waste of energy and nothing more happens unless you're involved at that higher level, but unless you're willing to make commitments in particular areas, you're never going to be able to have grassroots involvement in the ALP.
But we do have active debates and discussions about government policy, where the government we think should be leading and going, both federal and state. And we engage our community. And I think to some extent Queensland could be seen as something of a reasonable model for the community engagement.
So I'm a small business owner and a Labor Party member. I've been a member for 3 years, and over the past 3 years I've seen some things that I think we can change.
You have to have diverse people in a party to make it vibrant.
I think it can listen to people in the community, people who are sort of having to live out the decisions that are being made a lot better than they currently are.
And we need to look at ways that we can regenerate our sub-branches so that they are active, so people want to get involved, so it is a fun thing to do on a Wednesday night after you've worked the whole day.
Those of us out there at the grassroots, in the staff rooms and in the lunch rooms and at sport on Saturday and so on, have been energetic and enthusiastic about arguing the cause, defending the policies, promoting Labor voting.
Go down to that sub-branch, talk about what you're passionate about, and know that when you're there, that what you're talking about is actually going to make a difference.
Let's look at what we can do better, but not how we've done it in the past. We should unite as one party.
Getting out into communities, listening and having more of a focus on sub-branches.
We want to hear the story, we want to hear how it all fits together, we want to participate in spreading that story and sharing that story and getting support for that story.
Later on, when you're looking at policies like refugees, marriage equality, the National Broadband Network, being able to talk and discuss and be involved in that dialogue would be a great way to reinvigorate the party and get more members involved.
Fairness is an interesting concept because it's about, you can't draw a boundary around fairness. If you're fair to workers, you've got to be fair to refugees. If it's about fairness in a social security net, then it's also got to be about fairness for gay and lesbian Australians. Giving your own members and members of your family a fair go and a fair hearing. And to me, that's what renewing Labor is all about.